Hello, hello! And today we're going to be talking about the deck that I use to hit Masters in Legends of Runeterra this season. And it's going to be Deep from LORJ01 on Twitter. This is the deck I found to have the most success with. It's a variation on Deep, and I'm actually going to cover it here, and I'll make a more of an in-depth guide on it in the future, probably the next video I upload after this one, because I actually did enjoy it quite a bit. It was a very fun deck, and I'll be quite honest, I really haven't enjoyed any Targon decks too much. I think Targon has a bit too much viability right now, and in combination of Hush, it makes a lot of strategies just not viable. And honestly, the ones that are viable are really not that fun. Everything just seems to be very into Vassal, or Lux mid-range, or not Lux mid-range, Leona mid-range, and then you have like the one-off Nightfall list. There are a lot of lists that are viable in the meta, but Targon itself hasn't been too exciting. Obviously, we don't have the full expansion yet. We're going to be getting more card changes next week, and we will be getting more cards within the following months. But as it currently stands, I personally haven't been enjoying it too much. So that's why I haven't been really covering too many Targon decks. But because I actually do enjoy this list, I'm going to be covering this one. This one's fun. It's Deep. It's typical Deep. It's what we all know and love. But with the few additions, this is more of a control variant than a mid-range. I mean, it's always going to be a mid-range variant no matter how you look at it, but it does have a lot of control tools in the deck. So, and what I mean by that is we have a one-off box, we have double Grasp of the Undying, one Withering Whale, and double Ruination. This deck is definitely more of a control list than a mid-range list, I feel. Like, you will be pushing out the damage and you'll be consistently killing your opponents by turn 7-8 with Nautilus and swarming them with deep units into your Atrocity. But you definitely have more control tools in your favor. And that's why I feel like the deck's been doing a lot better than the previous iteration I showed off a couple weeks ago. So, what makes this list so different besides that? Well, from our buddy called the Mountains here, we got Stalking Shadows. And this is actually a card I saw quite a few of you were asking me over in the comments below if this card was any good or not. Yeah, it is. It actually turned out to be a lot better than I expected. It was a lot better than in the previous list I was testing out. This did actually very well, and I think that has to do to how J01 here tuned the deck with the numbers, because like instead of 3 Abyssal Eyes, we have 2, and we have like 1 Shipwreck Hoarder, and we're running like 2 Thorny Toads, triple Dead Blooms, triple. So we're getting cards that are consistently going to be useful that we pull off Stalking Shadows, right? Because we really, like, as much as we love Abyssal and as strong as a card it is, this is not a card we want to pull from it. We want to pull things that are going to keep us alive early on, or pull us big monsters later on, right? We want to pull our Shipwreck Hoarders. We want to pull our Devourer of the Depths. This is our big swing card. This is the reason we play Deep, really. This card here is that crazy when paired up with Nautilus. But early on, we're going to be keeping this to pull out our Thorny Toads, our Dead Blooms. We want to survive early, right? So, just as a quick rundown to make life easier for anyone who's watching this video, a general mulligan is if you're against any aggro or kind of like mid-range aggressive kind of like scouts, you're going to be looking for your early drops. You're going to be looking for your Dredge Dredgers, your Thorny Toads, your Dead Blooms. These are cards you're pretty much going to always want to keep. If you're against more aggressive decks, like we're talking about like Pirate aggro, do keep your Vile Feast. You can also keep this against Scouts because it will match up with the Fleetfoot Tracker very well. And then generally, my thing is I will always keep Box if I'm going to get an aggressive matchup. This is just an insane card. Nobody plays around it ever. You will not see this card in any deck. So this will go off a lot more than you think if you let your opponents play into it. Just be wary if they have a good open attack, because most good players will take the open attack instead of playing into a potential AoE, or you playing a potential blocker. So there's that. Maokai is also very good into aggressive decks, as weird as that may sound. He does generate another unit every turn, so if you are able to get Maokai down pretty safely, do so, and then, pair it up with your other guys, and you get to, slowly pick off their units and get deeper into Deep. Generally with this deck, you will be hitting Deep by round 7. By turn 7, turn 6, turn 7 is usually like that sweet spot where you'll hit it, which is really good because, that's when we want to drop Nautilus. And if you're into control matchups, say your Trundle Aesol, you're going to be looking for your Maokais. You're going to be looking for Salvage, Abyssal Eyes, your Nautilus even. Cards that you're going to want to drop immediately. Of course, you want to accelerate into your Deep as soon as possible. And keep anything that you can, play. But you're not going to really care for keeping Thorny Toads in that matchup. You're much rather getting your Dredge Chargers, your Dead Blooms, and your Jaw Hunters. These are going to be cards that generate more units. These are going to be cards that put you into toss faster. And these are just going to be like your go-to bread and butter. But if you do get off the mulligan, your Maokai's or Nautilus, I would generally keep a Nautilus, and I will keep Maokai pretty much every time. Maokai is definitely like the MVP in these matchups. They kind of control decks have a little bit of a harder time dealing with him unless they invoke an Obliterate. And he kind of just lets you chip in a lot of damage early on. And aside from that, he just lets you go into deep a lot faster, which is the whole point of a deck. We're not going to beat control matchups unless we're able to outpace them, and Maokai lets us do exactly just that. But yeah, that's kind of the deck. I will be posting more Runeterra videos, obviously, coming in the coming days. It's just I'm kind of like trying to find my stride with what I want to make with the game. At the moment, it's just I don't enjoy too much of the decks in the meta right now, so I'm kind of just trying to find little fun, wacky stuff that I can showcase. But it's getting a little more harder as decks become more and more refined. And yeah, but I am curious, what decks have you guys been enjoying the most? I would like to have something, you know, maybe even not even fully competitive, but like potentially competitive, kind of like something like the old Heimerdinger list I was showing, that I could showcase on the channel. I would love to see what you guys have. But that's gonna be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the final match to hit Masters, even though it was against an incredibly weird deck. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Appreciate y'all. It would be against a deck that I have yet to play against. I want to give like good in-depth commentary, but I have no idea what deck this guy's playing. Okay, so I mean, the first thing we need to know, he's playing Zed. So we're going to keep Box. I feel like keeping Box and Grasp might be right. Because if we skip 1 and 2, we can't Grasp. We get Box, though. We'll keep the Dead Bloom for sure. But we will pass 1 and 2. Just to set up for this. We don't want to get blown up by Zed here. This is very interesting. I have no idea what the heck this guy's playing. Okay, we'll still have enough mana next turn. Starlit's here. Oh jeez, I'm scared. So hopefully it does drop the... Do I box this? I almost feel like I have to. What the heck is going on here? Yeah, I think we just have to. I can't let that thing get multiple procs. It was a little scary for sure. I do want to just drop the Maokai here and start just accelerating to our deep. We did find our Nautilus, so we want to try and get as deep as soon as possible. And Maokai is always the best option for that. Man, why did I just get this really weird deck out of nowhere? Holy shit. Whatever the hell's on top of this deck has 6/6. Okay, that is terrifying. Okay, well we have it down to 11. We got 10 next turn. I have the Jettison, so we just need to... Okay. Oh, I messed this up. Oh man, I'm not thinking. Oh. Okay, I mean I messed it up as... I guess we want to keep that alive. That's fine, I guess. I have no idea how we're gonna deal with this. Okay, so that's not a bad pickup at all. I feel like just obliterating this 2/3 might just be the right play here. We really don't want this to live, but at the same time he could have well, if he has a Zed at this point, I don't see us obliterating it. It's probably a super buff Zed. He didn't have it on turn 3, so that's something to note. We could look Stalking Shadows, try to find an Abyssal Eye. That's exactly what we're gonna do. I shouldn't have started recording. Ah, man. That's so sad. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna obliterate this guy then. Or at least attempt to. mean, that's fine. At this point, I think, like, the things that are on top of this deck were already massive regardless. And this we'll get this again with Deep. You're brittle stealing that? Holy man. Well. That's a bit scary. He was very committed to that play. I do like seeing the open attack here. So that means he probably hasn't drawn into things he's been buffing.
Surround them. These eyes see all.
We're gonna have to take the damage. I don't want this Maokai dying. This Maokai needs to live. I could have blocked and gone for the miss call, potentially. Ah, wait, I'm trolling. I should just play Nautilus. Honestly, yeah, I should just play Nautilus. Yeah, that was kind of a grief, huh? We could grasp this. I think grasping it makes sense. And then we go Nautilus next turn. We could also hold the mana for Miscall. Is there any way you could kill Nautilus? He's not a Noxus, so he doesn't have access to Golden Strike. I mean, he's holding onto a lot of cards. Yeah, I'll just pass, actually. Okay. Well, now it's his life here. And we got the Ruination, which is really good. Considering we've just been buffing guys the entire time. Alrighty then. Maokai's almost there too.
River shape the land and give it life.
Bro, this man just whip out an 11 River Shaper. Hey, I'm gonna need to chill. What the fuck is this thing? This took 3 Starlit. Oh, this took all of the buffs. That's actually hilarious. How do we go about this stuff? I could pull here and force him to block with the River Shaper. We also have the Ruination. I don't want to just risk the miscall though. How does he? He has a buff this +3. I could also just go for the attack by itself. Now this line would be pretty bad. But it would be a 50-50. It's gonna be a 50-50 if he actually has a way of trading. Okay, I don't think he has a way of killing it. Just gonna freeze it.
This would be a good winter.
Brittle steal that? Oh my god.
An auspicious
That's
season.
fine.
What form will the waters take?
I'm gonna run to the Jettison for if we find our treasure, man. Kind of important. A deep sea wrecker.
Do not fear the shrouded path.
Okay, so we have the Obliterate here.
You will feast soon enough.
I mean, he recalled it, so I'm assuming he has another will. No.
You're in over your head.
You're in over your head. Okay, so we have the miss call here. I'm fine with this.
This will be a good winter.
A gift
That's
from the
a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. I mean, he's gone through both 2 flash freezes and a brutal steel. Okay, we're actually gonna flip Maokai here because just make sure he doesn't. He could have just done. I should have done this last turn so he doesn't draw what he's been buffing. Yeah, we lost our shipwreck order there. Yeah, this keeps drawing cards for him. That could be pretty bad for him. We could go attack. He could have a harsh winds. We could keep tossing. Like, tossing isn't bad here. We could draw into another Nautilus and recall him. And then go into like a Ruination if he tries to deny it. Turn after. How do we want to go about this? Is it right to attack with this? Maybe not, actually. Let's put him on a...
Strike, we will reform.
Wow. 3? Okay, harsh ones. Jesus. Well, he's drawing spells here.
What form will the waters take?
What form will the waters take? It's true, man. Can we just grasp this thing? Huh. Why do I feel like I'm gonna get Lee Sin kicked? I feel like I'm gonna get Dragon's Raged. Should I be scared of Dragon's Raged? Huh. It's interesting. He's running like this pure buff deck of Lee Sin Zed. Dragon's Rage would make sense. If I'm left with Nautiluses in my deck, Nautilus and Maokai's. It's not exactly the greatest win con. And I don't have a way of surviving. I could just put him on deny here. He's just pretty much has spells in his hands, and he's down to 2 cards. If he has Deny and Dragon's Rage, it might be an issue. He's gonna mill out though, before we do. And we have healing. He has Deny. Will of Ionia. Okay. So we only have Maokai's Analysis in our deck.
United, nothing can stop us. Peer into the darkness. This is our home.
That's an interesting attack. He only gets 1 more attack after this. We don't need to kill him, we just need to make sure he runs out of cards. That's his last flash freeze. I don't know why he's making this play. I'm really confused. Harsh winds. Fury to north, okay. And we're still healing. And he's down to 3 cards and 1 attack.
Leave your bags in the door.
A Day of Overwhelm.
I will tend this garden. Give them room to spread their leaves.
I think we got him. I think we win this. I wish I knew if he was holding on to Dragon's Rage, though. What the hell are his last cards? We milled his Lee Sin and Maokai. Fear the North. Okay, Fear the North and what?
It will be a good spring.
Oh, it wasn't actually Dragon's Rage. It was Omen Hawk and Fear the North. Wow. Woo! That was a close one. Jesus Christ. That was a super weird deck we just played against, and I'm concerned. But we did it. We got Masters. Let's get it. Masters 15. XD. Oh, jeez. That was, that climb took a minute. Playing all these weird decks trying to get here. We finally got there now. We can post memes. I'm ready.